Hi everybody, I'm Jamie Shahan from Teal Lollipops Wreaths, and today what we're going to be making is a fall wreath. If any of you are in a design class, you probably already know that blues are really going to be popular this year. So when I went shopping at Hobby Lobby and I found a blue pumpkin, I knew that I had to buy it, and let's create a wreath together with that blue pumpkin. So I'm going to get this phone set up on its holder and then we'll get started. Okay, so bear with me. All right, so here we go. So here is the sign that I purchased from Hobby Lobby. It was $6.99. That's all. Cute as can be. And it's got this beautiful blue color and white. Those are the two predominant colors, but it also has the brown and the green. So we'll do a little bit of play with those. So I've got my deco mesh frame. This is a dollar store frame that I bought, and I put matching chenille stems on them, or pipe cleaners. And I've got 9 around the top, the outer 2 rings, and 9 around the inner 2 rings. And then, so this was the inspiration piece that I'm using. And so I went and found some blue ribbon that goes well with it. And I love leopard, so I found some leopard ribbon to go with it. I found a cream colored ribbon that has some gold beaded edging. And then here's that blue ribbon again. And then I found this at Hobby Lobby too, and I'm in love with this ribbon. This is a white ribbon that's got a gold and silver fringe on the edges. Adorable. So those are the ribbon that I'm going to use, and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to use it. Probably like this, but I could also use it like this, but I think I like this better, so I'll probably use it like that. We're going to be using these as accents, but I'll probably come back later and put these on. But I've got these to go with this leopard ribbon. And then I also have these little white pumpkins that I could put on there too. So those are just some decorative pieces that I'll come back at a later time and put on there. So that's my inspiration, and let's get started. So I'm going to set this stuff aside. So we're going to start with this that I got from the dollar store. And then we're going to use this 21-inch navy blue mesh. So probably what I'm going to do is, since this is a smaller wreath form, I'll probably do 10-inch poofs. And I think I'm just going to try to do it without a bunch of accessory mesh. So I may have to go around the wreath form once on the bottom, once on the top, and I may have to go around a second time on the bottom to get the coverage that I want. We'll see. All right, so let's get started. Let's put this over here. All right, so let's get going. So to get started, I like my mesh to be with the curved side down. To me, I get better poofs that way, and that's probably just me, but that's the way I like to do it. Just start anywhere on your wreath form. So I'm going to take a zip tie, and let's zip this baby down. Let's pull it to the back, tighten it up. And let's get started. So I'm going to measure this 10. And I think that's going to be more than enough coverage, more than enough length. And just kind of poof it up as you go along. Let's get this stuff out of the way. So the name of my shop is Teal Lollipops on Etsy. And then of course on Facebook it's Teal Lollipops, and on YouTube it's Teal Lollipops. So a little bit about myself. Last year, 2019, I have 3 grandbabies now, and I started to really wanting to decorate the house for fall and Thanksgiving and Halloween and especially Christmas, since I have grandbabies. My children are adults now, and I've moved on to grandparenthood. And so I started looking on Pinterest for ideas for creating something that would just inspire my grandbabies to want to come and hang out with Lolly and Pops. So my grandbabies call me Lolly, and they call my husband Pops, and that's where we got the name of our shop. And Lollipops was already taken out there in the digital world. It is a candy shop, and so I had to add something to it, so I chose my favorite color, teal. So the name of my shop is Teal Lollipops. I was gonna go with the lollipops regardless. I'm not very creative in that way. I'm creative in this way, but I'm not creative in trying to come up with a cute name. And so once I knew that lollipops was the way to go, I just stuck with it. So we're just going to continue to go around. "10" poofs. I have 9 chenille stems or pipe cleaners on the bottom 2 rings, and I have 9 at the top. And you just start any location. So I put these on. And you start anywhere on the form and tie a set down, and then you take a stem and you lay it out flat, and somewhere around there is where you're going to put the next one. So you tie another one there, and you take a stem here and you lay it out flat, and then somewhere around there is where you tie the next one. So that's how you measure off where you want to put your chenille stems. I am no mathematician by any means, so there's no way I know how to figure the circumference of this wreath form and find 9 locations around it that are equal distance apart. I just couldn't do that. I saw this on somebody's page one time on YouTube, and that's how I've done it ever since, and it works like a charm. Sometimes when you get to the end, that last one is either going to be farther apart or closer together, but when you get to the end of the wreath and you get all of your stuff on it, nobody's going to be able to tell. So it doesn't matter if you're a little bit off in your measurements. So like I said, I'm going to try to do this one without a bunch of poofs. I mean, with just poofs, without a bunch of ruffles, curls. That's how I learned to do it, by watching another lady on the internet. And it certainly helps with filling up the space on your wreath form so that you don't have a lot of where you can't see through to the back of the wreath. That's what I don't like. I don't want to be able to see through it. It looks cheaper to me if you can. So we're going to solve that problem by more than likely going around a 3rd time. So I'm done with the bottom. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump my mesh up to the top rings. So here's where I've ended, and I'm going to jump up to here, and I'm going to zip tie to here, and then I'm going to start with this tie here and then go the rest of the way around like I've done on the bottom. All right, let's zip tie this right here. So while you're gathering up your mesh, this is just poly deco mesh. You want to try to keep the edges from rolling under. You want to try to keep them on the edge and not in the middle of your gathering. So before I do that, let's put this right here. All right, so let's see if I can show you what I'm talking about. So we're up on this top ring now. Here's one edge. Here's the other edge. And I want them on the outside here. And they pretty much are. So let's go ahead and tie this down. Okay, so there's my edge and there's my other edge. Still on the outside. 10 inches. And poof. Now after you've done a few of these, you get to where you don't even necessarily have to measure. You kind of know what 10 inches feels like. So if you see me not measuring perfectly, that's okay. That's why I've done few. This one seems to be a little bit closer to this one, but that's all right. Remember I told you they sometimes end up closer together or farther apart, and that's okay. I'm just using my remote control for my TV to kind of hold the mesh down as I work with it, just to push it back, keep it from rolling up here. And the edges of this mesh always seems to get stuck on the other mesh. And so if it rolls up here, then gets too close to it, it tends to get stuck. Someday I'm going to get one of those gadgets that holds your mesh for you, and all you have to do is roll it out from it. I just haven't done it yet, but I will. Oh, I'm stuck somewhere. There we go. So I've already been to Hobby Lobby this year. They're starting to put out their Christmas ribbon, and man, do they have some unique and beautiful Christmas ribbon this year. The problem is it's like $7 a roll. Whew, that's really high. If you're trying to keep the cost of your wreath down, $7 a roll is kind of expensive for deco mesh wreaths. Because if you think about it, for a deco mesh wreath, you're going to use almost an entire roll by the time you cut out your 12 to 14 inch strips that go in these ties, and then you've got your bow to make. And if you make long tail bow, you definitely are going to use an entire 4 rolls of ribbon, at least I do, per wreath. If you're making grapevine wreaths, then you can get your wreath, your ribbon can go further on those, I would presume, because you're just using it to make your bow. So a $7.99 cost for that particular wreath is not bad. But if you buy 4 rows, let's say 2 of them are $7.99 a piece, so that's $16 for your 2.5 inch rolls. And then you buy 2 1.5 inch rolls, and if they're not $7.99, you're lucky if you get them for $5.99. So that's 12 bucks. So 12 bucks plus 16 bucks is $28. So you've already got $28 investment in your ribbon, and that's just your ribbon. So I've got a dollar store wreath frame, and then chenille stems, which doesn't cost much. So that's not much of an investment. But then you've got your mesh, your 10-inch deco mesh. If you don't purchase your 10-inch deco mesh from an online distributor like Craft Outlet, you can get them for $3.95. Usually, you can get them relatively inexpensive there. Oh crap, I just cut that off and I want to go around a third time. Oh well, I'll go around. But if you buy it at Hobby Lobby, you're talking $10 to $12 for a 21 inch roll of mesh. So there's another $10 that you've added to the cost. So deco mesh wreaths with ribbon that's not on sale can be quite expensive. So I've just tucked this piece that I cut off to the back side, and now I'm zip tying it again. All right, so I am going to go ahead and do a 3rd row of mesh here, and I will add it to the bottom, because if you look at it, it's a little see-through, and I don't want to be able to see through it so much. I don't mind being able to see through here. That's okay, but through here, I don't want to be able to see through it. So let's start over. I'll have to use another zip tie. I didn't mean to cut that off like that, but I sure did. So let's gather this together here, and let's get started. I think I'll zip tie this to the center here. Push that to the back and tighten it down. And I'll come back and cut all the ends of these zip ties later. All right, so these are going to be 10 inches as well. Let's just add another one here. So I'm just going to go right on top. If I've got enough length on these chenille stems, I'm not going to untwist them. If I didn't have enough, I would untwist them and twist them back and try to get really tight so I could have adequate length to put my ribbons on there. But this particular one I do. Yoy. All right, fluff it up. So hopefully by the time we get a third row of the mesh on there and all of the ribbon, we will have adequate coverage of the frame. Hoping. I may have to go back and add all the little decorative touches. Okay, there's that edge. So I hope everybody is staying safe and healthy in this crazy time that we are in with the COVID pandemic, the tension that's in our country. And that is pretty much all I will say. I don't want to get into any political things, but I am saying my prayers daily. Dear Lord, help us in this time. Oh man, I got that one tight. Okay, let's see if I can. Where are my edges? I may have gotten this one twisted. I'm not sure. Nope, there's that one. There's that edge. That's what I'm talking about. These edges tend to twist inward or get caught up underneath or something. You really want to try to keep them on the outside. You can see here that this one has been twisted inside here. So I'm going to pull it out. There we go. So now it's back on the edge. Gather it again. Make sure this one is on the edge and not folded inside that gathering somewhere. There we go. Just takes time to get used to doing all that. I'm still not perfect at it, but the thing about deco mesh wreaths is they're very forgiving. You know, you might not get one little area right. You might not get a lot of it right. But the ribbon and the accessories that you will add on to it hide a lot of your problems. So we're getting close to being finished here. I hope you can see this. I might have that camera at a bad angle. I don't know. Guess I'll figure it out when I go back and look at it. But I really do love the blue this year. I'm glad it's a popular color. Blue is my favorite color. You wouldn't traditionally think of it as a fall color, but man, blue is on the opposite side of the color wheel from browns and yellows, if I'm not mistaken. So they're complementary with browns and yellows and golds. So blue is a perfect color for fall. All right, I got one more. Okay, so I'm going to cut off a length here. I wonder if I should do another one on the inside. What to do. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do another. I've never done this before, but I'm gonna put another layer of the poofs on top. I'm not liking how see-through it is right here on this upper one. So we're just gonna, here we go. Let's just put another layer here. There are no rules, really. You do whatever you want. It's your wreath. If you want more coverage, put another layer there. If you want less coverage, don't put another layer there. That one got pretty tight. I should have made that one a little bigger. Luckily, these chenille stems are long enough that they're handling this just fine. Okay, so 14 is about right there. I'm measuring these 10 inches. I'm going to the 14 on my measuring board, but I'm starting at the 24. So I'm going backwards to 14. So they're measuring out 10 inches. 10-inch poofs. They don't have to be perfect measurements. Just get them in there as best you can. Get close. This is definitely going to be a full wreath since I'm doing 2 rounds on each level. It's going to be poofy. So this would not be a method for in between a screen door and your main door. It probably will end up being way too thick. Uh-oh, I'm running out. Okay, I got enough for maybe 1, 2 more. That's about all I need. Looks like I'm gonna have just enough. Yep. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this off here. Okay. Yep. I actually have 2 more. But we're gonna make this be enough. That last one will be really short. But that's okay. It's just coverage. We're just wanting coverage. And the color. All right, so that is close to 10 inches. It's close. It's not really, but it's close enough. So we're going to take this last little tail and we're going to add it right here. Okay. So there is our wreath base. That looks better, I think. Okay, so now we're going to proceed on to our ribbon. I have pre-cut this ribbon. Pardon me while I reach down here and get it. I have pre-cut this ribbon. This is 10 inches. So I just measured 10 inches. This is actually 11. No, I cut them at 12 inches. Sorry. 12-inch ribbon. So let me show you real quick how I measure this ribbon. So I don't have one of those little tools. I lack a lot of the tools that everybody has, all these little gadgets. And so I end up, when I first started making wreaths, I didn't want to buy all these gadgets. I needed to learn how to do this freehand, and later on down the road, I'll buy all this stuff. So this is how I measure ribbon. So I'm measuring these ribbon at 12 inches. So I will find the 12-inch mark, which is right here. And then I will take it and fold it right there. And then I will just start to fold this end over end, however many times I need it. And I will just, in this particular wreath, I need 9. So I'll just keep folding this over till I need 9, till I get to 9. And then I'll cut it. So make sure that once you fold it, you count how many you have here. There are many times that I will have 10 here instead of 9. I'll have 1 extra. Because, you know, you get sidetracked and you're watching TV or you're talking to the camera or whatever, and you forget where you are. But that extra length matters if you're trying to make bows or something you don't want to run out. So here's how I've paired it. I am going to do the blue. How am I going to do it? I'm going to do the blue with the leopard print, and I'm going to do the white with the gold beaded print, or the gold beaded ribbon. So let's see, I've got an extra ribbon here. I don't know how I did that. Okay, we'll just get started. So I take and just lay my 1.5 inch ribbon on top of my 2.5, and I find the center point and I gather it up, and then I fold it, make a V. Then I will fluff it out like bird wings, and then start putting them on the wreath. I don't spend too much time right now getting that ribbon to go where I want it to go. Just get it on there. Let's separate these. This ribbon is so pretty. That almost looks like angel wings, this particular ribbon here, this white one. It's so pretty. I purchased enough of that ribbon to go on probably 4 different wreaths. That's how much I like it. And if I have any left over, I will be making some bows to sell in my Etsy shop with it. Some wreath bows, lantern swag bows. Now you might notice that this blue ribbon has silver streaks in it, and this has gold. I am totally 100% okay with mixing gold and silver. And this ribbon is actually double-sided. I could actually use any side I want. The thing about this ribbon is this ribbon frays. When I cut my dovetails, it frayed quite a bit. So what I had to do was use this product here. It's called Fray Check. You can buy it at the fabric store, Hobby Lobby, Michael's. And once you cut it out, you run a bead along the edge of your ribbon. And once it dries, it will hold that edge in place and keep it from fraying. And it goes on darker, but once it dries back to the regular color. Very few ribbon will show that that fray check has been added. I have found one ribbon that did out of the hundreds that I've used it on. I don't use it on all ribbon, but when you're selling a wreath, you know, for $100+ the last thing you want is for that ribbon to fray. So when I run across that ribbon that does fray, I will take the time to do that. I mean, this is your business, this is your name. You want it to be right. I am totally 100% right now infatuated with leopard. Love leopard, have for probably the last 4 or 5 years. I almost named my shop Teal Leopards and Lollipops, but it was just so long. I thought if I was ever going to have a website or an email, it just might be too much to have to type in. So I just stuck with Teal Lollipops. Whoop. So we'll just go around this alternating these wreaths, these ribbons. And like I said, at the end, I will fluff the ribbons and get them going the direction that I want them to go. All right, I'm going to, I forgot to get my glue gun heating. So I'm going to take just a second, plug in my glue gun, get it heating so we can attach the chenille stem to the sign. Okay, there we go. Sometimes these chenille stems want to roll under the wreath, and there have been times when I've taken the excess of these chenille stems and pulled them in and tied them to a ring to keep them upright and from rolling under the wreath. You do what you have to do. Okay, so because there are odd number of ties on the inner and outer rings, you're always going to end up with 2 of the same ribbon that are side by side. It doesn't matter. In the grand scheme of things, nobody is going to see that you have got 2 ribbons of the same type side by side. And if they do, they're probably not going to care. So I've got 2. Now for me, I don't care. I love the leopard, but there are the 2 right there that are side by side. So what I'll do is I'll start right here with the opposite ribbon so that it offsets a little bit. Or I'll get as close. When I put the second ring of chenille ties in here, I went in between each section, each 2. So to try to get it spaced out evenly, you can't necessarily, that's not the way it is on store-bought wreaths. It doesn't end up that way. Sometimes you'll have one tie directly on top of another, but here they're alternated, so I can put this tie directly between these two, and it'll offset these two a little bit. All right, so let's see if this is hot yet. It's getting there. So let's take the time right now and get this sign prepped. So this is a thicker sign. So my staples will not go through this sign. There are some signs that are relatively thin, and when you put a staple in it, you will be able to see two little indentions coming out the other side. Sometimes you have to then, if that happens, put some ribbon or something to build up the height of what you're stapling into so that those staples don't go through. So more than likely, I'm going to be putting this offset, and in this wreath, it looks like an offset will allow me to put my chenille stems top to bottom and not necessarily side to side. I can put them side to side, but I'm going to put them top to bottom. And I'm going to use the blue. So sorry, it's going to be loud. So, and I'm going to put some hot glue on these. Hopefully it's hot enough. Yeah, it's hot enough. Now I'm going to set this aside, and we're going to let this cool off while we finish putting these ribbons on here. Okay, so we have the white here. Now we're at the blue. So we just go round and around till we get these all put in place. So someday I'll be doing live videos and I'll be able to answer questions. I'm not much of a talker. I'm kind of running out of things to say, but if I had questions scrolling up, I would be able to give me content to talk about. So if there's awkward silence, I'm sorry. I'm not much of a talker. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a talker. Get me with a bunch of my girlfriends, I'll talk their ear off. But to sit here and talk to myself and an audience that hasn't even seen the video yet, sometimes it can be difficult. This is going to be adorable. I am loving what I'm seeing. I love the contrast of the blue to the white and the blue to the leopard print. I think it is absolutely gorgeous. One of the mistakes that I made And they're in my Etsy shop. If you go and look at the beach themed wreath, you know, if you were to pull up the picture of that wreath and take a look at it, and it's a beautiful wreath, don't get me wrong. And just squint at it. Don't look at it with your eyes wide open, but just kind of close your eyes a little bit and squint. It looks like it's one solid color. There is very little contrast in it. This wreath, if you were to squint and look at it, you would see blue, you would see white, and you would see the leopard. So I've got 3 contrasting colors here that are going to make this wreath stand out and be stunning. I think I'm gonna have to get me a new chair up here because I'm kind of sitting below the level of this wreath, and I'm having to squish down on the mesh to see where I'm going. Love, love, love this wreath. Ugh, I can't wait to see what it's gonna look like. I'm hoping it will turn out as lovely as I think it is, as I think it will, and as it is starting out to. Oh, my dog is scratching at the door. Just a minute, Pee-Pee. Just a minute. She wants out of here. I've got 2 dogs in this room with me. One of them got up and ran toward the door when I stapled that sign. His name is Jack. He's a scaredy cat. And then the other is, he's a mutt. And the other is a Boston Terrier. She's not a scaredy cat. She's got little dog syndrome where she thinks that she is in charge of everything. She just laid there like, eh, you know, my mama's not scared, I'm not scared. She's 25 pounds, he's 75, and he's the scaredy cat. Go figure. It's all in the attitude. Okay. So there's the beginning. Or not the beginning, but good Lord, we're more than halfway through. It's so pretty. Come on. Let my dogs out. Man, that's pretty. Okay, so we're actually almost finished. Alright, so this is dried enough that we can put this in here. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over, and let's cut these. You tighten them down really well. Okay. So I think I'm going to put it right here where these 2 white ones are. And I'll probably have those go out there like that. And those out there like that. And I'll probably have it on an angle. So I'm going to fish this through here, somewhere about right here. Yep. And this one about right here. Let's see. Okay, we'll turn this over and we're going to tie it. I'm going to wrap this around here once, just to kind of secure it, and I'm going to wrap this one around here. And since I have enough length, I'm just going to tie it to each other. For now, I'm not going to twist it too much. I'm meant to cut this off. I don't want this. Yeah. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make the bow. That's going to be adorable. And I have forgotten my bow dabra, which is what I make my bow out of. So let me run downstairs and get it.